Okay guys, so if you watched my Zoanthrope video, you'll have seen this guy hiding in the background in the end. And this is the Doom of Malan'Tai, or rather my conversion for the Doom. Hyper-powered Zoanthrope, and its backstory, one of the other hive fleets, not Leviathan, it's not an original Leviathan creature like the Death Leaper, but one of the other hive fleets is attacking an Eldar craft world. And the Eldar are panicking and running around and focusing all their attention and all their defense efforts on the big Gribblies, things like Carnifexes, Tyrannifexes, Hyrule, anything big and scary. And they pretty much ignore this lone little Zoanthrope that just bimbles along through the craft world, latches itself onto the Eternity Circuit, and then gorges on the souls of all the departed Eldar that power the craft world. So it absorbs all of their psychic energy and it becomes this whacking great monstrosity that eventually dooms the craft world. Hence the Doom of the Malan'Tai. Yeah, who'd have thunk it? Basically, with it being a hyper-powered Zoanthrope, I started with a regular Zoanthrope model. So if I put them next to each other, you can see they are quite similar. What I've done, quite obviously, is I've extended the backplate up quite a bit, and that's a Carnifex backplate. The smooth plate, obviously, green stuff to smooth it in. And then these front vents that I've put on here to match the picture in the codex are the back vents from the back of one Zoanthrope. So I've cut them in half, spread them out a little, mounted them in green stuff to smooth them onto the plate there. So a normal Zoanthrope, let's not make him fall, will have two sets of vents. The Doom, now then, because one's on the front, has only got the one, so to stop it looking sparse, I've put these extra spikes to the side, which are shoulder plates from the Hive Tyrant and the Carnifex kits. And these extra capillary feed towers at the bottom here that are starting to sprout up, they're off the scenic base that currently adorns the Swarmlord model. But basically, a nice, quick, easy conversion. And again, it's one that I've had a lot of compliments on in the store, which I was pretty chuffed with. Follows exactly the same paint schemes for the Zoanthropes. However, because I wanted to have him stand out and have him signify that he is a big, hard, evil devil monster, I went past the Warlock purple and into reds to a little bit of blazing orange at the very tips of the crests, just to make him stand out a little more. But that is the Doom of Malan'Tai, Psychic Monstrosity, and it is absolutely brilliant when you put this into the field. It has an ability called Spirit Leech, which represents what it did to the craft world. And when I use the Malan'Tai, will always put him in a Mycetic Assault Pod. So he drops in, lands in the middle of the enemy, and I try to get him in between 2 to 3 units if I can, depending on how the enemies arrayed. The start of your shooting phase, or the enemies, so any shooting phase, his Spirit Leech automatically happens, and it's an aura with a 6-inch range. Any unit that's within 6 inches, doesn't matter if it's by one model or by all of them, has to take a leadership test on 3 dice. So pretty much like Shadows of the Warp. For each point they fail the test by, they take a wound. They are allowed to take a cover save or an invulnerable save, but no armor saves may be taken. And for every wound that's inflicted that isn't saved, the Doom gains that wound up to a maximum of 10. The Doom's strength characteristic is the same as its wounds, so it starts with 3 and it could potentially go up to 10, so you could be firing off strength 10 attacks in close assault or strength 10 psychic blasts with its Cataclysm. Now when you fire Cataclysm, the Doom loses D3 wounds, so potentially can lose 3 wounds at a time, but then it gains them back. The only problem is if you only have 3 wounds left and you lose 3, it doesn't cancel itself out, it dies, it doesn't get the wounds back then. But it is a very, very horrible thing to drop on anyone when you're playing them, especially if they don't know it's coming. I've used this against some Chaos Marines and caused absolute havoc, and I've found that when you put it on the board, it is going to take a lot of fire. People don't like it. As soon as they see it, they tend to fire every strength 10 weapon they have at it, or strength 9 or strength 8. It's not got a very high toughness, so if it does fail its invulnerable save, it's insta-jibbed. So you tend to find that a lot of las guns are aimed at its face. If it survives, it's wonderful. Even if it doesn't, you've got all the heavy fire going towards this model, and it means that you can run fleet, do whatever you can to get across the board, get a little bit sooner into close combat, and pile in where you can really do some damage with the rest of your swarm. But it's a great model to have in the army. It's a shame that there isn't an official model for it, but it's a nice one to try and convert. So yeah, this is my Doom of Malan'Tai. Thanks guys, have fun, play safe, and see you soon.